Hello guys, this is Pedram Raufi and you are watching the markets review. During this program we are going to go through the most important indexes of the stock market of the United States. We are going to check the news background, what kind of important news we have for today and for the week. And of course, we are going to see what kind of prognosis we are going to have due to some news background. And of course, we are going to check the Forex pairs, the main Forex pairs, gold, oil prices, and of course we're going to end the program with the check of the prices of the cryptocurrencies which we have on our platform, on our MT4 and MT5 platform. So as always, we are going to start the program with the most important news of the day, which is mostly not the news but a prognosis of a really important and a famous man, Tom Lee. He's telling us that S&P 500 has actually renewed the highs. We all know it. As we predicted the S&P 500 from previous time, S&P 500 and Dow Jones as well, they just renewed the highs, the maximums. And there's a really interesting and optimistic somehow prognosis about 2022. Till the end of 2022, maybe we are going to have the rise of S&P 500 about 16%. And that's not too little, that's not too much, but as many of analysts already said that maybe 2002 won't be that funny and won't be that profitable for stock market investors and share investors that it was during 2021, for example. So we are going to actually don't forget about this factor, but to the end of 2022, 16% is really interesting, and Tom Lee said that this could really become true. In which situation now S&P 500 actually is moving from previous time, from previous actually, as you remember from previous time when we saw, when we met, it was a breakthrough of the highs. And now we have some consolidational movement which could actually cause a correctional downward impulse. And due to the frame which we have, due to the scale which we have, maybe this downward impulse could continue to the middle of previous impulse, which is about 4,700 or 4,650. So 4,700, 4,650, it could be the level which could get retested in the future, and we have to actually pay attention how price is going to retest these supports. If price is going to retest this supports impulsively, it would mean that prices maybe are not going to fall further. But if we get some moderate downward movement to these levels, this would mean that in the future, during some weeks, we could get the 4,600 as well. So here, obviously, we are going to have some correctional movement, but due to the situation which we have on the daily chart and for our chart, maybe the renewing of maximums could continue in the future. And the most important level, which is actually nearest one, is 4,800, 4,850, which could as well get retested. As you remember from 1 month ago, or maybe from 2 months ago, as we said, and as we said, due to some analysts' statements about the rise of S&P 500 to 4,800, it was actually predicted by some analysts, and we told you about it about 2 months ago or 1 month ago during our programs. Actually told you that this kind of thing could happen, and as we see now, actually prices are going to retest this level. But in the future, any impulsive upward movement of S&P 500 could really make the correctional movement or make the correctional downward movement to come true in the nearest future. So be aware that here we could have some correction, and any upward impulse could really make this correctional movement to come sooner and happen sooner as we think. For the nearest future, now we're talking about Dow Jones as well as the industrial index, which we have here, and we got some divergence here. Maybe we can tell that this divergence is continuing, but not that much. This divergence is actually already really moderate, and the continuation of upward movement here for the near future near future prognosis could be really could be more logical. So let's say that maybe for Dow Jones as well, we could have some renewing of the maximums or the impulsive retest of high of 3,660, 3,665, 33,600 to 3,650. That's the situation which we could have in the near future. The retest of this resistance could really become true. What we got next, due to the news background, we have some actually prediction about oil as well. One of the famous oil analysts is telling us that for 2022, the oil production of United States is going to increase, and that's a really good factor for oil prices. And here actually he's talking about the future collaboration of the OPEC group and their targets, which could make oil to maybe have some moderate upward movement during the next year, but mainly the trend of oil would continue in the long term because we don't have any risk factor. We don't have any risk factor yet, and maybe during next year, this risk factor of corona, because of the progress of the vaccination, could really disappear. So due to these factors, maybe this prediction would be true, but the price of oil could really continue the moderate upward movement. So that's a long-term prediction. But let's see what is going on with the oil prices for today, for day traders, and maybe during the nearest future, what would happen to the oil. There's some signals which we have here which are not really good due to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart is a really good chart to tell what would go on with the prices during some days, for example, some 2-3 days or maybe a week. Here we have formation, which you know is a widening formation. When volatility is getting widened and wider, and this expansion of volatility mean that trend is going to reverse after the retest of some highs or lows. Here we have actually the nearest levels are some highs of $78 or maybe $78.50. So $78.50 are the nearest resistance, which could really get retested in the near future. But this signal which we have for today, maybe for next sessions, which mean that prices really impulsively retest and now they're kind of getting under 76. They want to get under 76, which would mean that in the near future maybe they are going to make some downward correctional movements. So these downward correctional movements could really continue if dollar prices continue to rise. Dollar prices again started to rise after the retest of local support. I'm going to show you this chart as well a little bit later before we get to the Forex pairs. But due to the situation which we have on the oil market and due to the situation which we have on the chart of WTI prices, here maybe in the near future, nearest sessions, we are going to have some downward impulse. Downward impulse, it could be really local, it could be really local correctional movement. So after that, after the end of all of these correctional movements of oil, after the retest of 76, I don't think that it's going to get under 76 and continue to go downward. I think that maybe amplitude is going to get lower here, and then we are going to have next upward movement. But that's the actual predictions of 3 or 4 days. But for next sessions, next trading sessions, maybe we could have some downward impulses. So for scalpers, so for day traders, maybe this could be a good situation to make some profit. And we actually told you about the risk factor of next year, but let's see what kind of risk factor nowadays we could have due to the scientific releases which we had from WHO that says Omicron has not spread wildly among the vulnerable people, which means that they cannot determine the severity of this new mutation of the virus. So severity is the only factor that could help gold prices to go higher. Why? Because the severity of the new mutation could be lower than previous one, which actually could make some countries to not to go for a real long-term closures of business, for long-term lockdowns. And due to the vaccination progress and the third shot, the fourth shot, all these factors, they have to give their positive impact on the markets. So due to all of these factors, you actually have to know that despite all of this sureness and awareness about that, maybe this about that virus severity, which could be really lower, WHO can actually, for short term, a little bit make the commodity market to get some volatility. And here we are just waiting for the results. Maybe we are going to wait for them for a month and a half, but the final results are going to come out, and WHO is going to tell us what kind of severity Omicron is going to have, and do we need the third shot or something like that. So until we get the full information, until we get the full picture, we won't know what would really go on. So we have some risk factor on the markets. And look and pay attention on the chart of the coronavirus cases around the world, which is now higher than some maximums which we had during this year. And the numbers of deaths, as you know, just some weeks ago went above 5 million. So here the risk factors kind of remain on the markets, and this could really a little bit make stock market to get a lower amplitude, or maybe to correct a little bit, or make the gold prices to maybe jump a little bit. But gold prices, unfortunately, during the previous time, are not showing us the real picture of the commodity, because the commodity prices like gold prices, silver prices, they rise when something risky is going on in the market, when stock market is going to have some downward movements. But as we see, stock market is rising, and most of the money from the stimulus is going to go to the stock market, and this trend will continue maybe during the next year. But because of the strongness of stock market, the situation with gold would really continue, this consolidational movement, and we are not really aware of next upward movement. We are not really sure about next upward movement. Will this continue? Will this really happen? I mean, in the long term for gold. But let's see what it would go on in the short term. As we know, dollar just started to rise. Stock market made a little consolidational movement, and gold prices, obviously, because of the rise of dollar prices, will really continue to go maybe lower. And let's say the dollar is the better risk asset than gold for nowadays, and the reason is that The reason is that stock market have been pumped by the stimulus money, and this factor was really help stock market to continue to rise during this year, during next year. Gold is already under 1,800, and the situation would really continue due to the 15-minute chart during the day could continue. As we know, we have a breakthrough 1,800. But let's say that maybe here we would get some pauses in the downward movement. 1,790, 1,795, or 93, let's say 1,790, 1,793, or 94. It's 95 actually, I think, because 1,790, 1,795. The retest of this range would show us where gold is going to go next. So the retest of this range is the most obvious thing that we know this could happen. But after the retest of this range, maybe we could get some consolidational movement. Maybe we could get some widening of volatility and next reversal even. But let's say that we are waiting for the retest of this range. So for short-term traders, for scalpers, maybe the best thing that they can do is to just look through the market. And here for scalpers during the day, maybe they need to just stop for a little. I mean sellers, I mean bears, because of this convergence of 5-minute chart. This convergence means that during the day we could get some upward impulses, and after the finishing of this upward impulses, they could actually finish after the retest of 1,800. If it happens, especially if it happened impulsively. So maybe let's just wait for something like that and then get into the markets. For day traders, this could be the most important, most likely prediction which we could give. And let's see what is going on with the other commodities like silver. Silver is showing us that 2260 local support is retesting now. We have some potential of downward movement, but 2260 is a really important level. 2260 is a really good mirror level, and the retest of it could really as well stop the downward movement. So let's say the range 2260, 2240 is going to get retested in the near future. So during the next sessions, during the day, maybe we could have some probability to trade as bears. Palladium as well, downward impulses, local supports, just pay attention to them, and this situation could really happen for them as well. It could be same as well. Look through the economic calendar. What would we have for today? We have some good news for dollar, some predictions about the initial jobless claims. I'm sorry, not really good. They are going to rise. Initial jobless claims of the United States are going to rise. That's not really good. That's not really good news. So because of this factor, maybe dollar during the American session is going to get some downward impulses. What's going on with dollar? Consolidation after the rise. I'm sorry, that's the daily chart. 15-minute chart. We had a really sharp rising from yesterday, and this sharp rising is kind of getting into consolidation. And today's American session could make dollar to maybe dump a little bit, but the retest of 96.20 is the range after the retest of which maybe we would be more sure about the next movement of dollar. Any widening of volatility inside the range of 96.20, 96 could show us that price is going to reverse. So we need some pushing through the 96.20, not the impulsive retest of this level. And of course the Forex pairs which we have, Euro, Pound, Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar. What is going on with these pairs? Downward impulse, it really could end. Guys, you have to pay attention that the Euro dollar could really end the downward impulse, but we have a range, and the retest of this range could mean many things. 113.20, 113.10, it's a really good range after the retest of which maybe we're going to reverse a little bit, But the retest of this range, the retest of the lower levels of this range is really possible. So we are waiting for this retest. Pound maybe is going to continue downward movement, but here we have a really important level. We have to pay attention that the potential of downward movement remains on the markets, but 1.3450 is the most important level, that a retest of which we have to wait. And after the retest of this level, maybe we could get into upward movement. So for bulls, we have to wait, and for bears, maybe we can actually continue the downward, continue the short positions. Australian dollar here is showing us that buyers are getting some power, but 4-hour chart is showing us that during the next days, because of this false breakthrough of the local resistance, we could get some reverse. So for dollar index, if it really continue to rise, and if the price of Australian dollar get under 0.7250 or 0.72, I'm sorry, 0.7250 or 0.7240, the situation would be really downward. The situation would be really bearish. So for Australian dollar, it's really better to wait for this, for the price to get stuck under 0.7240, and after that make some decisions. I'm telling you about the short position. Until price gets stuck under this level, maybe the upward movement continuation would be more logical. New Zealand dollar as well. Here we have the potential of downward movement, but we have to wait for prices to get under this level, to get under 0.6820, 0.6815, let's say. And after price gets stuck under this level, we would be more sure. Before this happens, the continuation of upward movement, the next reversal for today's traders, for tomorrow and for next sessions is really more logical. So next, I'm actually going to see what would go on with dollar franc and dollar yen. Both are rising, and the yen, unfortunately, dollar to yen, unfortunately, it's not rising so well. And we have a really important level and range here, 155. We are above this level, but the retest of this level is obvious. It could really happen. Before the retest of this level, the continuation of upward movement is more probable, is more likely. It was GBP JPY. USD JPY is rising, as like as USD CHF, as like as dollar to Swiss franc. And here we could have some reversal. Just wait for it. This divergence could really make prices to go to reverse. But continuation of upward movement during today's session, yes, tomorrow's sessions is more likely. So here we have some potential of the continuation of upward movement for United States dollar to Japanese yen and for United States dollar to Swiss franc. But reversal is the most thing that we are waiting for after 2 or 3 days, for example, most likely. Let's see what's going on with Bitcoin prices and Ethereum prices. Both of them, due to the daily chart, they've been stuck under really important levels. Bitcoin 53,000 and 50,000 are the range which under which price have been stuck. And as we said, the continuation of downward movement from previous time, we said that the price is going to continue downward movement here. Actually, the record is showing us that price could really continue and the downward movement. And here we have a potential of downward impulse for the 3,000. This is the next target for Bitcoin and for Ethereum. Have some correction, of course, but due to the daily chart, we could really get lower. We could get lower for Ethereum as well. We could get lower to 3,400 or to 3,500, let's say. We could get lower, and this target is a really good target for short positions after the end of this correction, maybe about 3,800. After the test of 3,800, we could get reversed. So this all could happen. Guys, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe on our channel and like the videos. Don't forget that we have different type of instruments on our platform, on our main site, on our main website, which you could actually check as well. Don't forget to check them. Don't forget to check our risk manager, our courses of trading for beginners and for professionals. And of course, don't forget to subscribe on the channel and ring the bell so you would know what kind of programs we could have in the near future. Thank you for watching again. Until next time, have good tradings. Bye bye.